Great to be back. This is very humbling, great honor. Obviously, I thank Mike Bray. I can't thank him enough because I think it's a great idea that he started this 10 years ago, whatever. It's long overdue because we've had so many great players that I looked up to, mainly Austin Carr. He kind of, he was Mr. Notre Dame and got basketball started, as I like to say. Obviously, he had some help with the likes of Sid Catlett and Collis Jones and those guys, and great players as well. But I watched them, even though we no ESPN back then. You didn't get many games, and I always thought that when Shoemaden broke and AD came in, they took it to another level. I was fortunate to get recruited here, along with a lot of other places, and at that time, this was the right place for me. Trying to do something special. I have a long history. My father was a quarterback here. My Uncle Angelo was a Heisman Trophy winner in '43. I grew up on this place. I knew more about it than the guys that probably were already here. But that wasn't why I came. People just assumed because my father went here, I had to come here. He probably wanted me to come here. But he also let me make my own decision, as it should be. I did it with my kids that were recruited and played lacrosse and football and whatever. But I'm certainly thrilled that I chose here. Don't care for the winters very much and the gloomy days, but as far as the experience, I don't even recognize campus anymore. It's changed. I would love to have another trial year with the facilities they got here and all that's going on, because there wasn't much to do, so we were just basketball players and students. That was it. But that's what made us, who we are, and that's important. There's no question about it. And at that time, I thought, Notre Dame could become a very good basketball school. They really put us to the test right away. The football team wins the national championship in '77, my freshman year, but we kind of showed them our own greatness in getting to the Final Four. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but I think that put us on the map at another level. In the 4 years that I obviously was here, I consider the greatest 4 years in Notre Dame basketball history. If you look at the record and look at the players we had, 14 guys drafted during my 4 years, 11 guys played in the NBA. Those are pretty scary numbers. So I think it's a credit to my teammates that I'm fortunate enough to sit here because we do things as a team. I've said it 1,000 times, you don't do anything personally without help. Basketball's a team sport. Guys got to get you the ball. Everybody's got to do their job, as I say, and kind of work together to come to the same conclusion. So I've been fortunate to play with great guys. We're still pretty friendly. We don't see each other a whole lot, but we communicate when we can, and life goes by in a blur. Days go fast. Days go slow and the years go fast. We're all getting up there in age again. It's hard to believe next year will be 40 years since I graduated, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the last 20. So it's an honor to be here and to do this and have your name up there with some great players, obviously that I admired, and just to be included in that is great. I don't know what else to say.
What was last night with the guys like?
It was awesome. We had no idea what to expect. My family's all here. My wife's here. My daughter. I got my two sons came in, and my daughter-in-law, because my one son got married last April. I got friends from back in New Jersey. All my brothers except for one, my youngest brother, couldn't come up from Texas, but he sent his two sons. I got other nephews here and sister-in-laws, and so I didn't know they wanted to come. I just kind of sent them a notice that I got this out of respect to whatever they might want to hear, and didn't say either way you had to go or didn't have to go. So they came out here along with a lot of the people from Detroit. George Blaha, who I not only worked with when I played in Detroit, obviously he called the games, he's been doing it for 44 years, and a friend of mine, Harry Hudd, who's head of broadcasting and marketing, some of their friends that came down. So, it's a little overwhelming that you get the support, but then your teammates, that's what it's all about. To come from California and Arizona and Michigan and Chicago, and they came from all over. The ones that could make it, I certainly understand the ones that couldn't, and I don't you know, it's just the way it is. I mean, we all can't be everywhere we want to be, but I know they're thinking about me, and I've got a few nice emails and texts from different people during the course of the last week and today, and that's certainly much appreciated. But this is no fun unless you have your teammates here. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Paxton make it in last night?
Pax did too, yeah. Pax came in, and he had to go back, and I saw him as soon as we got to practice, because I was walking in when he was walking, and he took his hat off, because he always does that now because he doesn't think I recognize him. But then when he takes his hat off, he's got no hair, and it's even worse. So, but John's great, and he wanted to be here. He texted me a couple of times, you know, apologized for not being here for the game, but he said, I want to be there. And I said, you need to come to practice. You need to come to the thing afterwards. And we had a great time. I think it was a little overwhelming for a lot of my friends and family because we didn't know anything about 7-on-9. Figured out what that means too. That was pretty cool. Of course, Bertelli's name's up there. So, and then see the view of the football stadium and the gathering, and everybody commented on they thought the whole ceremony last night, and me not knowing when, you know, they gave me a gift with all quotes. That was so awesome. And the stories we told, and some of the lies they told about me and I told about them, all good. All good. So this is just a culmination. It's been a great couple of days so far.
And you spoke with the team. What was your message to them?
You know, I couldn't emphasize enough how I have so much respect for what Mike does. He just gets it. He's one of those few coaches that my personal opinion, you know, like a Tom Izzo and like a Jay Wright. Mike doesn't get the talent that those guys get, and I know why. Obviously, it's difficult to get in here, but every time you think, Notre Dame's not going to be any good, they're good. This team could be so much better, you know. But he's working with what he's got, and I said that you guys should enjoy playing for Mike, because I would certainly enjoy playing for Mike, and I'd figure out a way real quickly how to get involved in that offense and what they do. And Mike's always positive and believes in them. And I just said, guys, time goes quickly. We lost a legend last weekend suddenly. You know, call your parents if you have them. You know, call your friends or whatever just to say hello. And, you know, they're so young and they don't know what's ahead of them. But if they want to get to my level, you know, or some other pros level, you got to work at it. But that's, you know, like 1%, you know. So, but you got to be prepared to do some other things. But basically it was to love this game, trust one another, and worry about the little things. You know, I've seen 6 games where they've lost by less than 5 points or something. So if you won 4 of those, you're 12-8 now, I think. Be 16-4. That's a huge difference. You know, and it's about the little things. You know, whether it's in life or whether playing basketball, making sure you wait on a screen or how to set a screen or don't have a turnover. You know, no clock, time, and situation. You know, that's the easiest thing when I played basketball. Clock, time, and situation. Because you have time with timeouts and things like that, and you look over there and you know exactly, what do I have to do? What happens if the ball comes to me or we miss a shot? What do we have to do? And in those situations, if you think and believe and trust your teammates, you know, I think you'll get over the hump. Because once you start losing those games, it kind of destroys your confidence a little bit. You know, so they have to trust one another. You know, I got on Mooney a little bit about his free throw shooting. You know, I said, you're a great player. Man, you have a nose for the ball, and you know, you rebound. And I told his teammates, you know, he's not going to be able to get every rebound all the time. So you got to pick him up on certain days. And same thing with the scoring and the shooting. You got to find out who's the hot guy. You know, who's the guy to go to. But Mooney, I just said, you have too good of a touch. I said, are you a good free throw shooter? And he kind of said, no. Because I think I heard he's shooting like 55% or whatever. So I said, that's not gonna cut it. Because that tells me you don't want to get fouled. You know, I used to play, and you know, it's about getting to the foul line because I could make free throws or whatever, and he should be able to. It's mental. So, and then he obviously turned around Wednesday. I think he made 7 for 7 that game. I saw he made 4 down clutch. So they were all saying that. So I said, all right, don't make me you know, wrong today. So the kids, I think they, you know, understood. If they win today, then they listened. If they didn't, then they didn't listen. So
the game has changed so much.
Yeah, it has.
No shot clock, no three-point line, and especially so many players just leaving after a year or 2. Are you glad you played in the era that you did?
Oh, absolutely. I you know, it has changed, and I'm not sure it's for the better, particularly even at the pro level. I have a hard time watching the game. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. Analytics and, it's a volume shooting league, three-pointers and whatever. College, it trickles down to college, it trickles down to high school or whatever. But, every game's on TV. I mean, we were on TV a lot, and we were an independent because we were national TV, and everybody saw us, and everybody hated me because they thought I was there for 8 years and whatever. I never thought about leaving early; just wasn't the thing to do. We had a few guys do it, but that's why you go to college, to have fun and to grow and have their fans see you develop from a freshman to a sophomore to a junior. It's fun. So in that regard, I think it was great because I got to play with great players, and it was a great time. Basketball had a great following. Obviously, now it's just gone to another level because of social media and all the thing that's available. But no, I wouldn't trade anything in the world for playing a different time.
You had so many memorable games and moments, but that rivalry with DePaul in particular, can you explain how?
I think we had a rivalry with everybody. I mean, DePaul, Marquette, UCLA, they never lost at home. We went out there, I think, we were talking about this the other day, we went out there, I think we beat them like 3 times out there. In an era where they had only lost like once in the last, 20, 30 years or something like that. So, after a while, when you're Notre Dame, you got a target on your back and you play the West Coast, the East Coast, down south or whatever. So every game to us was a big game, particularly against those teams that you mentioned. But I mean, DePaul, because of Ray Meyer, a legend. Some of the guys I knew that I played against in high school, Clyde Bradshaw, Gary Garland, you had Corzine, so that ended up developing on its own. And of course, we ended up seeing them, and at times they were number one. We were the big dog, and then the big game to get them back in the NCAA tournament my freshman year, to get to the Final Four. I was too stupid then to even realize what was going on. I was what do they call it, the most valuable player in the regional or something, and to win 2 games, and that happened too fast. It's the only thing I don't regret it. It's just that you come out of high school, and then you're trying to find your way in here, and I was always very confident, and I knew I could play, and I was going to show that. I got plays down, and I always thought, like, I'm better than you. That's why I play. And I worked my way in the starting lineup, 3-4 games into the season. And, so the big stage never scared me. It motivated me. I thought those were the games that were even more fun because everybody's watching. They're more important. I know we can beat, the lesser teams and whatever, but you don't take them lightly because you still have to show up. But the big game was a time to rise and shine. And for me, never a problem. No bigger stage than trying to get to the Final Four for the first time. And when they throw the young freshmen into the middle, and we got Lambier and Batten and Flowers, all these 6'9", 6'10" guys, and I'm the one inside. What's going on there? But I mean, that was my versatility. That's why I played, because I could go outside and shoot. I could go inside and tussle with the big guys and get tough points and get to the free throw line. I could take my man off the dribble. But you got to play all aspects of the game. You got to defend. We had some great guys to defend, and we played different zones and matchup zones and things like that. So it's not just offense; it's offense, defense, it's everything. You got to put it together.
Kelly, off the basketball floor, anybody on campus that was a big influence on you on the academic side?
We talk about Mike DeChico, because he is actually on the train with my father when they came to Notre Dame. So he had known Mike for a while, and it's a challenge to go from high school all of a sudden to university, and you're scared exactly what you have to do. But I always thought at least if you showed up and you put in an effort, you'll get the benefit of the doubt. I went to class. I made a point to get there and have the professor see you and whatever. To see legends, and I'm going to mention them today a little bit. Father Hesburgh and Father Joyce. I mean. The Robert Redford and Paul Newman, they were special guys, and you saw them, and I knew those guys, and that was so cool. Moose Krause, I mean, you go back, again, these are influences and people that knew my father, so I got to know them and see them, Colonel Jack Stevens, and on and on and on. I mean, it's just those type of people that you see at this university at that time. And again, it was a lot smaller and whatever, but that's what made Notre Dame special, because you were you were kind of a family. You were kind of, together, and nobody got preferential treatment. Nobody got more than another. And I think those were, influences on the outside away from basketball.
Who finished second on you out of high school? Where did you almost go besides here? Was there
Oh, I probably would have went to Maryland. Another thing we were talking about last night, Lefty Drizel. Maryland or Duke. That was pre-Coach K. Very similar to Notre Dame. The campus, as it turns out, it's kind of funny because my second son ended up going to Duke and was a really good lacrosse player. And, he visited here and he liked Duke, and I had no problem. He'd always wanted to go to Duke. But Maryland at that time, they were recruiting Albert King, and Lefty was a tough salesman. He was really, really good. And I really liked the campus, and so I always tell the one story when I had to make the decision, because I didn't make it till I played 3 sports, so it was like April or something like that in my senior year when I finally decided and said, okay, I'm coming to Notre Dame. And then you're scared to death because you got to talk to these other coaches and tell them the news, and you're going, I don't want to do that. So phone rings, Lefty Drizel, Kelly, did you make a decision yet? Yeah, Coach, I'm going to decide to go to Notre Dame. And I figured that was going to be the end of the call. And of course, he has to say something stupid and say, why? I'm like, I wasn't prepared for that. I said, well, Coach, they're an independent, and it's kind of funny because most kids now with the conferences, they like the rivalries and things like that. And for Notre Dame at that time, we were independent, so we played anybody, anywhere, all over the country, and that was attractive to me. And he, without missing a beat, after I told him that, I said that was the main reason. He goes, oh, Kelly, if I had known that, we would have pulled out of the ACC yesterday. And that is so Lefty, So I got a little chuckle out of it, whatever, and I apologized. What am I apologizing for? I mean, it happens all the time, but that's how it is. And I came here, and I hope Digger was happy. You guys will figure that out.
when you run into Danny Ainge now?
I did. My kids, I don't have to run into Danny Ainge. My kids, they call him my mortal enemy. And that's been for like 30 years. My oldest is 30. My second son just turned 29 on the 29th, 2 days ago or whatever it was. I forget. I didn't know what today's the first. All right, 3 days ago. My youngest daughter is 21 over here. Reagan, say hi. And that game is always brought up, and it ruins my day. There's a few. My last high school game, and I scored 56, I think, or something, and we lost in the state semifinals. That still gets my stomach turned, but just the way we lost to BYU, we were better than BYU, much better than BYU, and we didn't do some correct things. I'll just say that because we had that game in hand, and in a way, we were all confused after the last time out, and wrong guy catching the ball, number one, and catching it the way he did. You never allow a guy to catch the ball going up the floor. You make him catch the ball facing the other way and make him stop. And then best he gets is a desperation half-court shot or something like that. So it still hurts, as you can tell. But Danny and I are fine. He's, he survived a heart attack and whatever, and hopefully that, or maybe it was because of me. I don't know. No, but he's doing a great job, and we've always been friendly. I played against him and whatever. But to my kids, he's my mortal enemy, and it always will be. But we got issues as we go through life. That's one of mine.
How close did any of you guys come to calling a timeout there in that confusion?
You're kids, and the head guy's the one that's supposed to do it. But we came out of that timeout, and it was like, I don't know, we're faking something, but we're not really doing it, and we're gonna somebody, yeah. The thing that irks me the most probably is I hit a shot right before that to put us in the lead. Nobody even knows that. A couple people see it, falling into the bench in the far corner. Would have been a 3 in today's game, but hey, that's life. What are you going to do? You can laugh about it or whatever, but we didn't win. They won, and it would have given us another shot at Virginia, who we had beaten earlier, to get back to the Final Four. And I think a lot of people thought we were good enough too. We should have won at least one here. I mean, we had some talented teams. There's no question, whether it was the freshman year, even the sophomore year, we came up against Magic. We could have changed history. We beat Magic, there's no Magic Bird. Basketball disappears from the face of the earth. Never again. They don't become rivalries in the NBA. Nothing. That never happens. You know, so we stumbled a little bit my junior year. That was just an upset. Missouri played great, maybe the game of their life, and we didn't play well enough and got beaten overtime or whatever. And then we all know what happened with BYU. So they all hurt after a while, but we grow and get older, and it stings a little bit when we laugh about them as well.